Welcome to A Recipe Reborn, featuring your favorite foods from Final Fantasy XIV. Hello, my name is Lemon Drop, and I develop recipes by combining real-life culinary inspiration with the in-game recipe, description, thumbnail, geography, and lore. If you're into 14 and food, please subscribe and click the bell for a new episode every week. Today I am continuing the Little Ladies' Day theme by making the tabletop housing item/meal known as the green tea set. This Doman snack consists of a cup of green tea and Hanami Dango, which is commonly eaten during both Girls' Day celebrations and cherry blossom season. There is a hishi mochi on the side of the festive sushi balls, but I've decided instead to make the dango, which are featured more prominently in Final Fantasy XIV. You may remember the dango from parts of patch 4.1, such as Tsuyu goes to the Umineko tea house and Nashu blew me up, yes! Since I've made dango before for Heaven's Turn, I wanted to try my hand and arm muscles at making mochi from scratch. While reviewing the in-game recipe, I wondered why beans are on this list. There are some dango recipes that contain tofu, which is made of soybeans. I also thought the beans may be referring to anko, which are red beans commonly used in Asian desserts, including Daifuku Mochi. So that's what I'll be making today, except I won't be using red bean paste, but I'll get to that later. This mixture is 1 part rice flour, 1 part glutinous rice flour, and 1 part sugar. If you remember the mitarashi dango that I made for Heaven's Turn, this is almost exactly the same, but since there's no glaze to go with these, they are slightly sweeter. The traditional ingredients to color the dough could be any number of locally available leaves or flowers and mugwort. None of those are available to me here, but the matcha powder and freeze-dried powdered raspberry work just fine. They also add a little bit of flavor, which gives some variety to the overall dango experience. I mix the powders with a little bit of water and then knead them into the dough. I'm all the way on the left here because the raspberry stained the board a bit and I didn't want to mix the colors. This recipe yields 18 dango, so I'm cutting the dough in half, then each half into thirds. Then I roll them into balls and they're ready for cooking. The pink one stained my hands a bit, so I recommend starting with the white dango, then pink, then green. The same goes for boiling because the dango will color the water slightly. Cooking time will vary here since you want to cook them for 1 minute after they start floating, which could take up to 10 minutes depending on your environment and dango size. After cooling in an ice bath, these are ready to skewer, and that's it, the dango are ready to serve. You can keep these in the refrigerator for a couple of days. Make sure to wrap them up really well to keep them from drying out. You can either microwave them or steam them to bring back the soft, chewy texture. For the mochi, I already washed, soaked, and drained this rice, and this is a special kind called sweet glutinous rice, or mochi gome. I'm putting in a cheesecloth so that I can steam it, which is the traditional way to cook rice for mochi, although with very different equipment. I put my steamer basket over a pot of boiling water, and then my sack of rice goes inside to cook for about 30 minutes. To knead the rice, I'm using my bread maker on the dough knead setting. If you have a stand mixer with a dough hook attachment, that will work too. You definitely can do this by hand since that is the traditional method, but typically a large mortar and pestle are used. If you remember the mochi pounding fates from Heaven's Turn in 2016 and 2017 where the Cyclops uses the huge hammer, that's exactly how it's done. From here, it's more or less the same process as the dango, except this dough is sticky AF. If you see me touching it, it means my hands are either wet or dusted with cornstarch. I cannot emphasize how sticky this is. To give you an idea, I can pick up the whole bowl just by the pestle and the mochi will hold them together. To shape the mochi, first I'm dusting a pan with cornstarch and then scooping the mochi onto it. From there, I pinch my fingers around a piece and then squeeze. I want to avoid pulling because it stretches further than a pizza with extra cheese. Here I'm flattening it and making it thinner towards the edges since they will overlap on my filling. Speaking of filling, I'm using black sesame paste, which I much prefer over red bean paste. If you're inclined, you could scoop a little bit of ice cream inside. There's really no end to the possibilities of what you can use. These are so cute and so much fun to eat, mainly for the texture. They're soft and very satisfyingly chewy. In terms of flavor, the sweetness mixed with the slight berry and matcha flavors are very subtle but nonetheless delicious. The Daifuku are amazing. The chewy texture together with the sweet and nutty sesame paste are a match made in heaven. Truly the fresh mochi texture can't be beat, but the dango are just as enjoyable with a lot less effort. And just as the in-game description outlined, they both pair perfectly with a cup of bitter green tea. For the full recipe and instructions, please check out the link to my website in the description below and in the card at the top of the screen. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week for another recipe and another episode. Until then, please enjoy this video of Kupo doing some tricks for me at the park and then getting distracted by a stick.